we've got here, we waited a couple of weeks for these. These are wheel studs and wheel nuts that we ordered from the UK, or from England if you want to call it England. They fit into the hub from behind, and they are riveted into place with little rivets. Two of them, one on each side. And what I've done is I've wire brushed the paint away at the back here so that the studs can sit nice and hard up against the backing plate like it's supposed to. The wheel lug bolts fit into the back plate like that, and they're held in place with rivets that look like that, almost like the head of a nail, and they fit into the countersink like that. And like that, you see. You've got the lug nut in place and you've put the rivets in. Then you can nestle it on the vise like that, you see. Try to get it nice and straight and level, and then with the hammer if you look at the back of the stud there, you'll see it's got a countersink, and when you rivet the rivets in, the rivets go down into that countersink. So it's actually countersunk on both sides. Now, when the rivets are in, they stick out a little bit over the top there, and that's not really an issue. It won't cause any kind of a problem whatsoever. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind them off nice and level so that they look good. I'm getting the bearings ready to repack. I washed all the old grease off of them with petrol and whatever else I can find. And now I'm going to blow them off with compressed air. Now you've got to be very careful when you blow bearings off with compressed air. Don't put your fingers inside of the bearing like that. When I was at school, there was a young fellow at the technical college who put his fingers inside the bearing, blew them with compressed air, and the bearing seized. He took his fingers off. So you hold the bearing on the outside like that, and then you can blow it. There's 4 bearings. There's 2 large ones which are inner bearings, and then 2 smaller ones which are outer bearings. And these will fit nicely on your finger as well when you blow to the compressed air. But if it seizes, that's the end of your finger. So don't put it over your finger when you blow the compressed air. Blow it with compressed air. Okay. These are the old studs that I took out. Some of them, the thread was bad and some were bent. high temperature wheel bearing grease that we're going to use. And it says it's lithium complex and all the other stuff. You hold the bearing in your hand like that. And this is what an old friend of mine in Alaska taught me. He said, you don't push the grease into the bearing. He said, you massage it in. And you take some grease in your hand and you slowly massage it into the bearing until it comes out on the other side. And Judy's going to do that, and I'm going to video her.
It'll be interesting because I have never done this before. All right. How do I get it on the palm of my hand? And when you're done, don't just put it down on the bench because there's all kinds of grit and dirt. Put it in a nice new Ziploc bag. And let's see if I can get this off without getting any on my hands. There we go. Okay, tell me what you're cleaning up.
I'm busy cleaning up. This is I don't know what the proper name is, but it comes in front of the oil seal. This is the oil seal. And I think this comes in front of the oil seal. I'm not sure which way around it goes. I'm going to have to look in the book.
Okay.
Now you might say to yourself, well, why didn't you clean this stuff up long ago? Because if you clean it up long ago, then it lies around and gets dust on it. Now, somewhere around here, this is the hub, the front wheel hub. Those are the studs that we put in, and it has this felt seal. The felt seal goes in first, and it's got this washer, and it says that the raised part of the washer goes towards the seal, like that. Okay. Now the bearing, you press it into the hub with the vise. So they say anyway. Making sure obviously that it doesn't go in skew, which it has done. I don't know how far it can actually go. It might be as far as it goes. I don't know. Switch it off. I made a shocking discovery today. You can't keep taking tools off of your toolboard, and when you come to look for them, expect them to still be there. You take them off, you lose them, they're gone. Find them and put them back on your board. It's a good idea if you really want to find your tools next time, and if you can even find a nail to put it on. Right, okay. So this is a 9/16, and like every other tool that I have, it has a nail right there. I have a nice big old-fashioned old crescent here, and it lives down there. The ratchet, not that kind of shit. The ratchet lives in that box, and the screwdrivers live over there. So this morning I've been pottering around with a few things that kind of became neglected along the way. One of the things that I did was I wire brushed the hubs and cleaned them all up. You can't hear that bearing at all now, eh? It's fine. The second thing that I did was this front brake cable, which they sent me from the UK, has got an adjuster down here, and you can shorten or lengthen the cable. And I cut 5.5 inches out of it so that it now fits quite well. If you have a look at the brake shoes, you'll see that when I push the brake pedal, it expands the shoes. You see it?
Yep.
You see them moving?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And of course the handbrake works on that as well. I had a look here at the steering coupling, and I discovered that the cuff that comes over the top is missing. I don't have one. This morning, as you may have seen earlier, I hung all of the tools up. Now I can't find a thing. They're just gone now from where they were. This is the brake drum, and this car's got cast brake drums, not pressed brake drums like some of the Austin Big 7s have, and it goes onto the hub. If you can get the screws to line up. Like that. And it's held on with 3 screws. Now if you look at these screws, they've got a taper in them, and the drum has got a taper in it. And the purpose of that taper is to center the drum when you turn the screws in. And yes, I had to go and fetch a screwdriver out of the cupboard because I'd put it away earlier. These little screws are quite important. If you don't put them in, then the drum can end up off center. Now the wheels have the brakes have an adjustment over here at the back, and as you turn this thing in, it's got a taper on the end, and as you turn it in, it pushes the shoes out closer to the drum.
So how do you know when it's adjusted right?
Well, it's adjusted right. You see there at that point there, it's gone too tight.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back 1, 2 clicks, which is what I did on the other side. If you pull the handbrake, the hub stops turning. Interesting thing here, when you pull the handbrake, the brake pedal goes down as well. They both work on the same mechanism. Yeah.
Okay.
Judy and I are building this car. We're not looking for something that is, I think they call it concourse, which is absolutely 100% original to the Austin 7 when it came out the factory. We're just building a little car to keep us amused and to keep us busy and something to do in the garage, and maybe a little bit further down the track we'll be able to drive it. I'm not looking for something that is too pretty to drive, and you don't want to take it out the garage because you're scared it's going to get scratched. It is going to be what it is. This rod, we had a brief look at it in one of the previous videos. If you remember, the one that was on the car had a joint in it here, and it was probably not it wasn't as nice as I would have liked it to be. So what I've done is I've made a new rod, and the rod goes between this compensator down here, okay, and the other compensator, which is mounted here. I've just been tidying up a few little things around here that weren't taken care of before. One of them is the clutch spring over here. Now the purpose of that is to pull the clutch pedal up so that the release bearing doesn't ride against the pressure plate. Back brake rod in. And as you can see, it's actuating the back wheels, brakes on the back wheels. I still have to get some little washers and some split pins or cotter pins, whatever you want to call them, to keep that in place. Okay. The nut for that holds this arm onto the steering box was missing, and after a lot of trouble they managed to find me one in Palmerston North at, what is the name of that place? Steel Masters?
Yeah, something like that.
But Steel Masters. Okay. If you look down here, you'll see that this arm is keyed onto this shaft. I've tightened the nut up nice and tight now. Because this thing is keyed, it does not require any kind of a lock on here. It just needs to be nice and tight, which it is, of course. Okay. End of the shaft, it's attached to a ball, and there's two pieces of metal inside here and a spring, and it's held in place with a bolt. Now this end, unfortunately, is missing. So I've got that on order. There's the two inner parts and there's a spring and the cuff. I've got that on order from England. It should be here mid-January, I should imagine. Okay. Right. This morning we've got Judy helping a little bit on the braking system of the Austin Big 7. We are assembling the brake mechanism at the back. First of all, the pin goes into the hole, and then we slip on a washer. Okay, the split pin then goes into the little hole and gets divided, and that's why it's called a split pin, because you can see it splits. One half goes one way and one half goes the other way. Then what we do is we cut the split pins, the ends off that are sticking out, so that they don't cut and rip your hands at a later date. The next one that Judy's going to do is not going to be as easy, because it's kind of like tucked away in underneath the mechanism. But it looks like she got it anyway. Wonderful. You separate the two legs, that's why it's called a split pin. There's a couple of things you want to kind of like take note of when you're doing this job. First of all, we always use a washer under the split pin, and the reason for that, I suppose, is so that the maybe you can tell me, I don't know, but we always do it. The second thing you probably want to take note of is that if you throw the pieces of split pin that you cut off on the floor, they're probably going to end up in your foot or in your car's tire, or yeah, who knows where. First the washer goes on, and then the split pin goes in, and its legs get separated. And then the ears get cut shorter. It's not really over necessary to cut the ears shorter, I suppose, but it does prevent them from sticking you in your arm or your leg, or cutting you open a little bit further down the track. Now, she put the pin in from the back side. The reason being that it's easy. It will be easier to get the washer and the split pin in. Been having a lot of trouble moving this car around. It's just getting a little heavier than I have been able to handle lately. So I made two little dollies, one for under that wheel and one for under the other wheel. And we tied them fast to the wheel with ratchet straps to make life a little easier.
Alright, so this is the bolt assembly that attaches the clutch mechanism down here, like that. And so what we've done is we've used the drill press and drilled a very tiny hole through the shank of the bolt and also through the nut, so that we can put a split pin through there when we get it in place. And it's also going to have a washer, and there's the split pin.
That arm that Judy's using there has got two holes in it, in the arm, and that is so that we can adjust the stroke of that clutch if it's going to be necessary.
Right, and then the washer goes on.
Check the position of your little hole.
Yeah.
Now the nut goes on.
So while we're waiting for some steering arm parts to arrive, we also have an issue with this mounting that's for the mudguard and the running board on both sides. The top part of the arm has rusted away, and we're having a challenge finding a diagram that shows what it's actually supposed to look like. It goes all the way through underneath the car and comes out the other side as well. The lower part here seems to be in fairly good condition, but the upper part is completely rusted away. On this side it's not as bad. You can see the edge, the upper edge along here, but there's obviously a piece at the end here that's appears to be gone. So if anybody has ideas or memories of what that's supposed to look like, or a diagram, it would be really awesome if you would share that with us, please. Thank you.
So today, there's a lot of noise in the background, but we are cleaning the Oscar Big 7 fuel tank. The wire brushed after the wash down with the pressure washer, and then we'll be painting it black.